Caution, you are about to enter the no spin zone. The factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Attorney General Jeff Sessions recuses himself in the Russian investigation. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Okay, here's the deal. The Democratic Party and much of the national press want to produce evidence that the Trump campaign colluded with the Russian government in defeating Hillary Clinton. There's no question about that. Because of the Russian hacking, a serious issue, there were hearings held in Congress. And by extension, when then Senator Jeff Sessions testified at his confirmation hearing for Attorney General, the Russian issue came up.
If there is any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government in the course of this campaign, what will you do?
Senator Franken, I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians, and I'm unable to comment on it.
Now, last night, the Washington Post published a story that said then Senator Sessions did meet with the Russian ambassador twice last year. But if you were listening closely, the question was about the Trump campaign, not the former senator's duties on the Armed Services Committee. Today, in a press conference, the Attorney General reiterated that he was answering the Russian question in the context of the Trump campaign. He said he did nothing wrong, told the truth, but is recusing himself from the case.
And my staff recommended recusal. They said that since I had involvement with the campaign, I should not be involved in any campaign investigation. I have studied the rules and considered their comments and evaluation. I believe those recommendations are right and just. Therefore, I have recused myself in the matters that deal with the Trump campaign.
Talking points, please. Mr. Sessions did the right thing. The FBI is currently investigating whether Russians influenced the presidential vote and who was involved. The investigation has to be above reproach, and that's why the Attorney General is now out of it. One footnote. Not one single Democrat in Congress, not one, called for then Attorney General Loretta Lynch to recuse herself from the Hillary Clinton investigation after she met with Bill Clinton at a Phoenix airport. There was absolutely no call for recusal by the Democrats, so once again, hypocrisy is on full display. Now, here's what should happen going forward. The FBI should continue its investigation, and Director Comey should testify in front of Congress. If during that testimony there's evidence the Trump campaign colluded with the Russians in any way, then a special prosecutor should be appointed. That's what should happen. A methodical investigation by the FBI and a determination by Congress whether a special independent probe is necessary. I think that is a fair, honest, and efficient game plan in this intense political climate. Finally, even though the press does want to destroy President Trump, the American people should want to know. We should want to know if there were any secret dealings with the Russians during the campaign. That's a very important story that should be defined. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight. Reaction joining us from Washington, Hans von Spakovsky, Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation, and Tom Dupree, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General under President Bush the Younger. Now, gentlemen, we spoke earlier today in relation to this case, and you both said the Attorney General should not recuse himself. I dissented, all right? Now that he has, Mr. Dupree, have you reconsidered?
Bill, my view all along has been I did not want to see the Attorney General pushed into recusal based on the drumbeat from the media and the calls from the Democrats for his resignation. What we heard just earlier today was heartening to me, that he did exactly what he said he was going to do in his confirmation hearing, which was consult with the ethics officials in the Justice Department and reach his own decision, which he did. So I'm satisfied with this resolution, and I respect it.
All right, but he was pushed, Mr. Dupree. He was pushed. The Washington Post pushed him, and so did the Democrats, because he was under intense pressure So that is true, is it not?
They pushed him, but from my reading or my watching the press conference and what he had to say, I certainly did not get the sense that he was uncomfortable or felt that he was forced into this decision. Rather, this is something that he and his colleagues decided was in the best interest of the country. All
right, Mr. Spokowski, how do you see it?
Well, the only thing I would say was that I thought it was premature. At the moment, there isn't anything before the Attorney General to recuse himself from. Everything is in the hands of the FBI. Down the road, yeah, it probably would be the proper decision. But look, I don't question what the Attorney General did today. In fact, he showed and demonstrated how different he is from the last two attorney generals who sat in that same position.
And that's the point. If the Trump administration is going to win hearts and minds of the people who don't support it, they're going to have to be transparent to some degree. And everybody knows that, and she admitted it herself, that Attorney General Lynch should not have met privately with Bill Clinton while his wife was under federal investigation for the emails and all of that. Yet the hypocrisy, and I think everybody knows, even the Democrats have to know how hypocritical they are by coming down on Sessions but ignoring Loretta Lynch for almost the exact same thing, by the way, because we don't know what Mrs. Lynch and Mr. Clinton talked about. Nobody was there and it wasn't recorded. And we don't know at this point, although I tend to believe Mr. Sessions, that there wasn't any campaign chat with the Russian ambassador. So hypocrisy off the chart. But again, Sessions did the right thing. And, you know, the Trump administration has got to convince people, Mr. Dupree, that it is in business to represent all Americans, not just a segment of them.
I think that's right. And look, Bill, I think that this is good coming on the heels of the president's address to the joint session of Congress, where he struck a tone of optimism, of reasonableness. And I think the Attorney General's remarks today fall well within that category, that they are going to be reasonable. They're going to take the interest of all the people into account and make decisions on the basis of what's best for the country.
Now, what I expect to see tomorrow, Mr. Spokowski, is a spin from the left saying that because the Attorney General recused himself, he's somehow under suspicion. Even though a recusal is not that. It's just basically, look, I don't want to have anything tainted. I want the investigation to go along transparent. But I expect to see that spin. Do you?
I do. And I think it's very important to point out to people that of the two meetings that he had, the first one wasn't really a meeting. It was him giving a keynote speech to about 100 ambassadors and their staff. That's hardly the makeup of a conspiracy meeting. And the second meeting was one of about 24 that he held with ambassadors from around the world last year when he was a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. So the idea, again, that there's something
nefarious. But shouldn't he have mentioned that? I think he should have mentioned that, because after the testimony in front of Congress, he did then write questions down, and they was re-asked that question. And it's hindsight. I mean, believe me, it's hindsight. But, you know, if you're going to be in this powerful position, you really got to get everything on the table. You could have said just what you said, Mrs. Spokowski. Hey, look, you know, I met with 100 guys, and the Russian ambassador was one of them. And then in my duties as a committee member on the House Armed Services, I talked to Sergey, my pal, okay? And not my pal, but I talked to him. Just get it out. Always get it out, Mr. Dupree. Isn't that the best thing? Just get everything out.
That is, and look, you're absolutely right. In hindsight, I think he wishes he said it. But at the same time, there's a big difference between not being fully candid and mentioning everything that possibly could be responsive and actually lying under oath. There's a vast difference between the two.
And Pelosi today called him a liar, and you know. Go ahead.
That distinction is going to be blurred in the weeks ahead. I'm very confident.
Right. Yeah, I know. They're gonna do all that thing. And to a message to Nancy Pelosi from me: get out of the gutter, okay? Just get out of the gutter. Just try to represent the country in an honest way. I just hate that, the liar business. Gentlemen, thanks very much. We really appreciate your time tonight.